I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring the essential guide for single parents. It's an amazing book. It is called A Life Raft for the Suddenly Single Parent, and it's written by an outstanding author. Her name is Sharon Yoder. This insightful book provides practical advice on prioritizing self-care and creating new family traditions to build harmonious and joyful family lives. Join us right now as we discover how single parents can navigate this challenging journey with confidence and positivity. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Sharon, wonderful to see you here today on Spotlight.
Here.
So many parents today are single. Often it happens suddenly, whether it's divorce or whether it's death. You were a single parent for a number of years, correct?
Yes, I was 16.
Wow. And you had a brood of children. You had quite a
I
few.
did. This was a suddenly single, very surprised that I became into this new role. But yes, I had 5 children. Youngest one was 2. Then it was sort of like 4, 6, 8, and I had a 12-year-old. Thank goodness. But so I had a wide range of children.
Yeah, well, fortunately, I had a 12-year-old who could help you out with some of the little ones because mom needs a hand when she has so many kids because you only have 2 arms and only 2 eyes, right?
Right, that is true. However, my family lived a long distance away. And so many families, whether it's a male or female, it could be either single parent, do have families that are close enough that can step in and help cover. But when you don't, then you have to pursue other, options, which is what I had to do too. But
Yeah.
also working parents as or single parents or working parents.
Right.
And oftentimes when they're single parents, they're working parents oftentimes more than one job. So I was really fortunate, at least, to have a 12-year-old that when the little ones came home from school, she could keep an eye on them for about an hour or two before I got them.
Right, right. Yeah, there are so many challenges when you're doing it all by yourself, and you don't really think about it until you're in that position. Um, so let's say you are suddenly single, you're suddenly divorced, or your spouse passes away. What are 3 things you think a person should do to make sure that the home is secure and safe for the children and that mom or dad keep their sanity?
Well, first of all, just without thinking, we are never prepared for this. We think, oh, it could happen or it's happened to somebody else, but we never are really prepared to play this new role. And the first thing we often want to do is feel anger, resentment, nurse our own wounds, so to speak. But the 3 things, the one thing that I did was number one, ask myself what I wanted to provide or continue in this family life.
Mm.
And I wrote down, there were 3 things, of course, safety and health, of course. But also, I wanted them to develop confidence. I didn't want them to have low self-esteem or feel insecure. And also, I wanted them to be happy, have fun. And I learned very early that if mom is not reflecting any of these values, it does not come easy for the children. So the first person you really need to take a look at is ourselves. Are we going to be negative and pouting and angry and complaining and demanding, or are we going to try our darndest to make these children comfortable, feel that everything's going to be okay? We're going to all be okay because we're a family. We're going to stick together and we can have some fun and you can have your dreams come true, and we'll just hang in here as a team and make it happen. Which is what I call my stitching company, Make It Happen, because of this. But
What happened with your situation? Did your husband suddenly leave or did he pass away? Tell us.
my husband, first of all, my husband and I were married. You have to sort of know this background for 7 years before we even had children. We couldn't have children. So we adopted 2 children.
Mhm.
And then miraculously, we just biologically had 3 more. Well, we were thrilled. And my husband was in research, and so we did travel a lot. I taught home economics, so I sort of had learned a little bit about how to care for a home and children at the same time. But all of a sudden, he was transferred so many times, and what we think is it was a divorce, but it was very strange. He was deep depression, and eventually he died of leukemia. And we think now that probably he knew he had that before we did. And I was shocked. I had no preparation, no knowledge that anything was even going wrong. And then all of a sudden, I have 4 boys and 1 girl. And they were very, growing to be very close to their dad because he was in sports and golf and all those things. And now, overnight, I am to play both roles, mom and dad, for whatever the child needs. And I want to say that there will be loads of people coming in to try to tell you what to do. And they're probably friends that they love you and you care about them very much and they care about you very much. But I do want to give a little warning. Thank them very much for their concern. Thank them for their interest. And tell them that you certainly will consider these points of view. But definitely the best decisions come directly from you and your children, if they're old enough to give input. Too often we want to rush and do what other people tell us to do. And then we find out that maybe we should have waited a while and made other decisions. I couldn't believe my neighbor, who was a friend of mine, was told that I was asked for divorce. She was told in the morning after I had gotten the information. And by noon, 3 different realtors were at my door wanting to buy my house.
Amazing.
Things like that. Noon.
Yeah, and it's also scary for the kids. They feel the house might be sold. Dad's gone now. The house is going to be sold. Where are we going to live, right?
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And of course, what my plan was, and it still is, we're still in that house. And this has been many years later now, because that was one place that gave them comfort. They felt secure. I knew that that was what I wanted to do. But the first thing I did that helped the most was taking care of me.
Mhm.
Trying to figure out ways to make life more simple, not to do all the things I was doing, to have more time with my children, to be more happy with myself. This sounds strange, but I think I was out dressing and acting and doing all the things that the community thought I should be doing. And I really wasn't happy doing all these things. I wanted to be myself with my children. And that takes a little bit of courage to make some changes. But they were some of the best things I ever did to develop our own new home and new way of life. And you mentioned it in the beginning, new tradition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was a single dad of 3 children. I was divorced, and I actually loved it in many ways because I could fully parent them exactly as I wanted to parent them when they were with me. And we did have our own traditions. We had our own vacations. We had our own memories. And, my whole life was my children. I changed my profession as I needed to do to handle them. And, it was a positive experience. I
it
think.
was, and it can be. It really can be. And I know that some people like yourselves have some really good tips to pass on. And I am now doing the same for others. But the one tradition I remember, and it was the first big mistake, well, probably not the first, but it was one of the big mistakes I made. We became a single parent. I became a single parent, around Thanksgiving. And then we were going to have our first holiday, which was family Christmas. I made the mistake of trying to make it just like it always had been. Wrong.
Yeah.
Because it will never always be like it always has been. Those are wonderful memories that they had. And so when I tried to do that, of course, they could sense things were missing and it was not very good. But then I learned we can do new things. We can go skiing next year for Christmas, or we can do this, or we can do that. Changing and having new experiences became very positive decision. instead of trying to repeat some of the things that would never be quite the same.
Well, you don't want to set a table where there's an empty chair,
Right,
basically.
exactly. That's the
Yeah.
best. That's right.
Yeah. You want your own traditions, your own fun, maybe do something completely different at Christmas than you normally do, like you said, or Thanksgiving or whatever it is. I think that's great ideas. And I think, if parents do approach this as a positive in many ways, that they're going to bond with their children on a deeper level than intact families do.
Right.
Because often, some gets kicked to dad, the boys get kicked to dad, the girl gets kicked to mom, that kind of stuff.
Mhm. One of the things I also learned is these children need time with us. Now, again, with 5 children, initially I started doing things with them together. And of course, that's nice, but they also need one-on-one time with us. Because they're all unique, they're all different, they have different thoughts and ideas. And to really, really bond in other ways, you need to take time with them alone. And I had to learn that one too. They have ideas. And I would ask them, we'd have family situations and we'd come together as a group and they would come up with awesome ideas of how to deal with it. I didn't need to think that I was the only one that could decide how we should handle something. They became very accustomed to giving thoughts to it, giving input, giving ideas, and then helping to make the plan work. Which,
Yeah, your kids are part of it. And when you make them part of it, it gives them a great skill set as well.
right.
Yeah.
So that's just, but you said it when you said it turned out to be, it could be fun.
Yep.
It could just be-
Absolutely. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I was much happier as a parent divorced than I was when I was married. And just because, one of our biggest differences was parenting styles.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's one of the most common ones.
right.
And
Exactly.
I think that this kind of change is good for me because we started doing some things that we had never really done before.
Mhm.
Sort of a believer in having some adventures and outrageous experiences. And
Right.
they had some ideas of what they wanted to do, and we decided that's what we were going to do. We're going to make it happen. And
Right.
one of the things I went ahead and got my doctorate and did research, believe it or not, in the power of humor
Mm.
and fun and humor. And I wasn't surprised. A lot of people were surprised to find out that planning fun on a regular basis is really powerful. Now, that doesn't mean we get up every morning and we plan a whole day of fun. It means that each of us are responsible, not just mom or dad.
Mhm.
Each of us are responsible for having some fun in our life each day.
Yep.
In my case, it might be calling my sister who makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Sometime during the day or watching a TV show you want. But it was really encouraged that you really need to plan, that's the key word, something relaxing and fun for you to do today, even if it's for 10 minutes. And that had a way of releasing stress and worries and concerns. And so I put down a lot of things that turned out to be so effective for me. I had no clue. I had no clue about it. And I just want to keep passing it on to other people because people are usually shocked that they're in this situation and they don't know exactly what to do next.
Exactly. Well, this book is great. It's great advice. It's great perspective. It'll put things in a new light for a lot of the suddenly single out there. It is called A Life Raft for the Suddenly Single by Sharon Yoder. It is a insightful book that provides practical advice on prioritizing self-care and creating new family traditions to build a happy, joyful family life. Sharon, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for letting me meet you and meet your audience.
Oh, it was great having you on the show. Your advice to our viewers and to the readers of your book is wonderful, and I think it will be well received and much appreciated. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.